a nuclear shadow emerges Iran's atomic ambitions. Iran's nuclear ambitions have deep roots, stretching back to the mid-20th century. The Shah's regime, with US support, initiated a nuclear program in the 1950s, envisioning a future powered by atomic energy. This early foray into the nuclear realm laid the groundwork for what would become a source of immense international concern. Following the 1979 Islamic Revolution, Ayatollah Khomeini initially opposed nuclear weapons to the and incident on religious grounds. However, the Iran-Iraq War from 1980 to 1988, with its devastating chemical weapon attacks on Iranian soil, profoundly shook the nation's psyche. This brutal conflict fueled a sense of vulnerability and then a belief that Iran needed to bolster its defenses against existential threats. The quest for self-reliance in the face of international pressure became a defining principle for the Islamic Republic. Iran's leadership, determined to chart an independent course, saw nuclear technology as a symbol of national pride and a deterrent against foreign aggression. As Iran's nuclear program advanced, so too did international anxieties. The clandestine nature of some of its activities, coupled with a lack of transparency, fueled suspicions about its true intentions. Despite Iran's insistence that its nuclear program serves solely peaceful purposes, the specter of a nuclear-armed Iran, Artapan Alumdanistan, and Pandidi Padipi Tachanti, the international community, deeply scarred by the horrors of Hiroshima and Nagasaki, recognized the profound danger posed by the proliferation of nuclear weapons. A nuclear-armed Iran, it was feared, could destabilize the Middle East, spark a regional arms race, and embolden terrorist groups. The world watched with bated breath as Iran's nuclear program became a defining issue of the 21st century, a high-stakes geopolitical chess. Global alarm bells international concerns over Iran's nuclear program. Iran's nuclear program has been a persistent source of international concern, casting a long shadow over global security for decades. The world has watched with growing apprehension as Iran has developed its nuclear capabilities, raising fears about its potential to develop nuclear weapons. These concerns are rooted in a complex web of historical, political, and strategic factors that have made Iran a focal point of international tension. One of the primary concerns centers on the potential for Iran to develop nuclear weapons. While Iran has repeatedly asserted that its nuclear program is solely for peaceful purposes, such as energy production and medical isotopes, its past clandestine activities and lack of transparency have fueled deep mistrust. The International Atomic Energy Agency, the United Nations nuclear watchdog, has documented numerous instances where Iran failed to disclose sensitive nuclear activities or provided incomplete information to inspectors. These actions, coupled with Iran's development of technologies with potential weapons applications, have cast a pall of suspicion over its ultimate intentions. Beyond the technical aspects of Iran's nuclear program, its regional behavior and history of supporting armed groups have heightened international anxieties. Iran's support for Hezbollah in Lebanon, Hamas in the Gaza Strip, and various Shia militias in Iraq and Syria has raised concerns that it could provide nuclear technology or materials to these groups, either directly or indirectly. Such a scenario could have devastating consequences for regional stability and could draw the world closer to a nuclear precipice. Adding to the complexity of the situation is Iran's turbulent relationship with the United States and its allies in the Middle East, particularly Israel and Saudi Arabia. The legacy of the 1979 Islamic Revolution, the US embassy hostage crisis, and decades of mutual hostility have created a deep well of mistrust that has been difficult to bridge. Iran's ballistic missile program, which it claims is purely defensive, has also been a source of contention. with the United States and its allies viewing it as a potential delivery system for nuclear weapons. The convergence of these factors, ArtificialIntelligence has made Iran's nuclear program a global flashpoint, a powder keg that could ignite a major conflagration with far-reaching consequences. The world holds its breath, hoping for a peaceful resolution, but bracing for the possibility of a future overshadowed by the threat of nuclear war. Envisaged a fragile hope, the promise and peril of the JCPOA. In 2015, a ray of hope pierced the gloom surrounding Iran's nuclear program. After years of painstaking negotiations, Iran and the P5+1, China, France, Russia, the United Kingdom, the United States, plus Germany, reached RCO historic agreement agreement known as the Joint Comprehensive Plan of Action, or JCPOA. And this landmark deal, hailed by many as a triumph of diplomacy, offered a pathway to curb Iran's nuclear ambitions in exchange for sanctions relief and a reintegration into the global community. The JCPOA, the culmination of years of diplomatic efforts, was a complex and delicate agreement that sought to address the international community's concerns about Iran's nuclear program, while providing Iran with incentives to comply. And under the terms of the deal, Iran agreed to significant restrictions on its nuclear activities, including limiting its uranium enrichment levels, reducing its base status stockpile of enriched uranium, converting its Fordo facility into a research center, and allowing unprecedented access to its nuclear facilities for IAEA inspectors. The JCPOA was not without its critics, both within Iran and internationally. Some argued that the deal did not go far enough in addressing Iran's ballistic missile program or its support for regional proxies. Others, particularly in the United States, expressed concerns that the sunset clauses in the agreement, which would lift some restrictions on Iran's nuclear program after a certain period, would pave the way for Iran to eventually develop nuclear weapons. Despite these criticisms, the JCPOA was widely seen as a significant achievement, a testament to the power of diplomacy, and a crucial step toward preventing a nuclear-armed Iran. The deal led to the lifting of many international sanctions against Iran, providing a much-needed boost to its economy. It also opened up channels of communication and cooperation between Iran and the West, raising hopes for a thaw in relations after decades of hostility. However, the JCPOA's future was far from certain. Its implementation was contingent on all parties upholding their commitments, and the political landscape was fraught with uncertainty. The deal faced opposition from hardliners in both Iran and the United States, who viewed that suspicion and for this sought to undermine it, but to find at every turn the fate of the JCPOA. The Middle East, a region already fraught with complexities, faces significant implications from these recent developments. Economically, shifts in global trade patterns could either bolster or strain local economies. Politically, alliances may be tested as nations navigate positions on the global stage, and socially the effects could ripple through communities, influencing everything from daily life to long-term societal trends. As we move forward, understanding these multifaceted impacts will be crucial for policymakers and citizens alike. The potential for a regional nuclear arms race is a significant concern. If Iran continues to develop its nuclear capabilities, other countries in the region might feel compelled to follow suit. This could lead to an arms race, increasing the risk of nuclear proliferation and, ultimately, destabilizing the entire region. Escalating tensions and the risk of conflict are, unfortunately, ever present. The international community must tread carefully to avoid actions that could exacerbate the situation. Diplomatic efforts are crucial to prevent misunderstandings and miscalculations that could lead to open conflict. the future of Iran's nuclear program remains uncertain. With ongoing negotiations and shifting political landscapes, it's difficult to predict the outcome. However, it's clear that the international community must remain vigilant and committed to finding a peaceful solution. In conclusion, a call for peaceful resolution and global security is paramount. The world must come together to address these challenges through dialogue and cooperation. Only by working together can we ensure a safer and more secure future for all.